So today's episode is going to be really interesting as I want to address a real popular point of thought referring to the lack of interest of learning music. And I quoted a guy online to make this point to you. And this guy said, nobody dances to a note. Let me get this right. I wrote it down. Nobody dances to a note or moves to one. Nobody dances to a note or moves to one. The concept is quite popular now, where notes don't make people dance, and where bass players have decided that now it's their job to make people dance. That's a personal choice. I have no thought about it. But the idea that notes are minimally, if not exclusively, removed from the concept of live playing because nobody dances to a note is something that I'd like to not only address, but I'm going to demonstrate it for you. And what I'll demonstrate is I'll play the bass using three different metronome tempos. I'm going to play these three tempos without any pitch. No pitch. I'm going to play no note. I'm going to play a rhythm, a static rhythm. And then I'm going to repeat each rhythm and I'm going to play notes. After you hear the comparison of the nobody dances if there are notes, or let me get this right. I keep forgetting exactly. Nobody dances to a note or moves to one. I would like to show that this is not a concept that I think people should subscribe to. So I'm going to begin by playing bass using three different tempos. The first tempo is going to be of a non-pitch oriented bass line, followed by the same tempo in pitch, using pitch. We'll compare the two. Then I'll do it for a second tempo and then a third. Check it out. And then afterward, I'll come back and we'll chat about it. Did you notice the difference between playing a bass line without a note and the effect it had on people when a note was included? I'm going to do the same demonstration with a slightly faster click. Listen to me doing the same concept at 115 beats per minute. That's a good. That's good. How excellence in bass performance is being supported by deciding to do less as a musician rather than doing everything you can to provide a good bass part. Music is not confined to groove. It's one of the great myths that I believe is happening in this day and age. Music is a function of time, it's a function of pitch, it's a function of feel. All the elements are included. And that's what I'm hoping this demonstration showed you, that notes are vital to the groove and vital to the playing. I recall a story where I was back in the 70s. I went to Holland to play with the late Toots Thielemans, the harmonica player, and we went to a club, and there was a drummer there, a free jazz drummer playing with as drumsticks. He used sticks off trees, and he used what might be called a witch's broom, the branches that are tied to a stick. That was used as his brushes, and his drums were all varieties of instruments, and the instrumentalists in his band were all playing free and all playing with that harmony sense and just playing. And in the front row, and I never forgot this because it was an interesting thing to notice, there were a couple, 3 girls and a few people, and they were all dancing. And it got me to at least conclude that people will dance to anything if they choose to. The notion of the bass player playing a bass line but not include a pitch is a letdown in musical provision, and I really encourage people to give a thought to this and ask, why is this subject even going around in the bass world? Why not aim to be better or seek a higher level of playing, which will only get you more work if that's your interest, and will also provide you a venue, a stage, in order to sound absolutely at the best of your ability to play bass. So use notes, use rhythm, use feel. It seems logical, doesn't it? I hoped that this all helped. So now, Mr. Paul Arntz is sitting here next to me. Paul is the producer of this show. He's also a bass player, busy one, in here in LA. And see, that was an age issue.
I wish I was in LA.
You were?
In Nashville, that's all right.
I can introduce you to the Hollenbach girls.
That's all right.
So we have questions, and come talking to Mike if you can. Or
well, can I give you a question?
I would love it.
Okay.
This is your questions from you guys.
This is from JT-RG7KL.
Jeez, sounds like
I don't know. Maybe he can tell us what that means.
Sounds like a spy.
Yeah, maybe he is. Anyway, Jeff, do you see any benefit for bassists to learn to play very basic functional piano in order to deepen his/her understanding of harmonic principles, such as voice leading?
Well, yeah, I do. When I was a violinist, I was introduced to piano. All classical musicians, when I was a kid, we were all introduced to piano, because piano is the only harmonic instrument in all of music. Everything is laid out there, but like the bass, it requires practicing it. So if you're interested in harmonic possibilities, I've seen a lot of cool videos online where guys, pianists, are playing written out because they transcribed it afterward, and great piano voicings and voice leadings. So yeah, piano is very valuable.
I'm sorry. Is your assessment of the level of competence and performance still valid today? Is your assessment of the bassist population from years ago still applicable to new bass players? Bass players that have learned through structured online lessons, and let's say they started no earlier than 2020 when the pandemic hit.
If music was taught, absolutely. If music wasn't taught, it sort of goes hand in hand with my regretful conclusion that bass players might not be playing better. And I conclude that from the videos that I see online. Now, bass players today, there are more virtuoso and brilliant bass players in 2025 than there have ever been. The list is long and it's varied, and these guys have picked up the mantle laid down by us earlier, older guys, and have proceeded to create astonishing things on the bass. Statistically, there's more brilliant players than there have ever been, but statistically there are way more bass players than there ever have been. There's close to 500,000 of us, according to at least an overview. I know manufacturers of amps and stuff, and I've heard figures over the years, and sort of, I think AI may have mentioned something similar. I don't know. So when you consider that there's an exceedingly great increase in the number of bass players, statistically, I suppose if somebody did some figuring, most bass players still struggle, even while more bass players have shown themselves to be superior. Follow what I mean? It's increased in great players, but it's also increased in players that really uh, would benefit from learning how to play better, I think.
Can you advise where to find a good syllabus to work from?
I've heard from people that the bass is such a young instrument that there isn't really a syllabus or a principle of playing that is academic and sequential. Well, with the greatest of respect, years ago I created one. And as far as I see, it's the only one still around. So I began in C. The whole book is in C. Increased reading uh, using the C scale in different ways, but only in C, and then proceeded on to using 12 key reading, the same thing, major key, then proceeded on to using chords in different etudes, and then moved on to chord tones soloing up and down the neck, and then went on to approach notes, and finally I had a guitar book. So people that have shared looking for a syllabus, I have one. The catch is you really have to want to learn music. The reason I feel that maybe it didn't do what I'm hoping that it will do now is that people have to sit down and do the work. That's really the most honest thing I think I can share. If you want to learn how to read and add this to your day, I suggest getting a book called Bass Mastery. Bass Mastery is an all in C, and it starts with whole notes. You really can't get simpler than that. And I would also encourage you to get a bass teacher, usually an upright teacher, because all the upright teachers read music, and let them help you to read through the thing. Don't be self taught in this. And go to jeffberlinmusicgroup.com, and you can order it online.